Going live this instant.
Okay, we're going live this instant. Okay, so while we're going live this
We're
instant,
live.
Okay, so welcome to everybody that is watching in Facebook land. And the first thing we do is, like I said, if anybody has anything that looks remotely like something like this, we want to put it on, stun, vibrate, anything so that we're going to turn off the sound. Right? Everybody's agreement to that? Yes?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You bet. Very, very much so. Now the next thing is our host is Loanatik Schwartz from Loanatik, and let's give it up big time for Corey, please. And we love Corey, and I'm sure. Oh, there he is. Let's give it up for Corey. Very good, very good. All right. So the next thing is, guys. We are a mastermind. What are we, guys?
Mastermind.
Thank you. We are a mastermind. Who knows the definition of a mastermind? Go ahead, Paul.
The joining of two or more minds coming together for a common goal in perfect harmony.
Okay, very, very good. Now, how many think that a mastermind is a critical part of the success equation? How many think that the mastermind is a critical part? Who knows where the term mastermind originated from? Who knows? Does anybody know? Does anybody have idea? Tim, do you have any idea?
Is it Napoleon Hill?
Napoleon Hill certainly was the one who brought it to the attention of those people that were interested in learning. And who did Napoleon Hill? Brian, good to see you, bud.
Andrew Carnegie.
There you go. There you go. Mr. Know-it-all. Okay, great. Absolutely, Andrew Carnegie. Right? Here's the thing. Napoleon Hill's a 25-year-old law school student at Georgetown University, and to earn money, shouldn't say make money, we don't make money, we earn money, right? How many would agree? Right? We don't make money, we earn money. And to earn his money, he had a job interviewing very, very wealthy, celebrity, successful people for a magazine. And he would interview them, and those interviews would go in the magazine, right? So we have a chair here, guys. We got at least one chair, anyways. And we have all these chairs over there by the table. Have a seat.
Don't be shy. Grab a chair.
Right? We're going to be here for a while, right? 90 precious minutes, right? Okay. So Napoleon Hill has a chance to go from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Because guess what's going on in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
Steel.
Anybody ever heard of Pittsburgh Steelers? Yeah, why do they call them the Pittsburgh Steelers? What's Pittsburgh known for?
Robbery.
Steel, right? And the wealthiest man in the world at that time, his name was Andrew Carnegie. He owned U.S. Steel. Yeah, and guess where he lived?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so Napoleon Hill went to visit Andrew Carnegie. Napoleon Hill says to Andrew Carnegie, he says, to what do you attribute your success? Right? Now, do you think that's a legitimate question to ask the wealthiest man in the world? To what do you attribute your success, right? And Andrew Carnegie says, well, I'm going to assume that when you ask me about my success, you're talking about my financial success. Is that right? And Napoleon Hill says, yeah, really, that's true. What do you attribute your financial success? And he said, I know a secret that nobody else knows. I call the mastermind. When I built my company, my mastermind was made up of as many as 50 different other people's minds. How many?
50.
How many? 50. He said, when I broke down everything that needed to be done in order to build and create and market and sell steel, I realized I had to have an expert in this area and an expert in this area and an expert in this area. And altogether, there were like about 50 different areas where I had to have an expert. Thank you. A what?
Expert.
A what?
An expert.
Someone who's really good at what they do. And not only that, they love it. They love what they do. How would you like to surround yourself with a bunch of experts that love what they do?
Yep.
If they were an accountant, just because, man, they just love debits and credit, right? I don't know how anybody could be that way, but there are, right? And the person that wants to be in marketing, they love being creative and coming up with marketing slogans and marketing tools and things to get the customer interested in learning more about them. You know, and that's what they love to do, and they're really great at it. Do you want them on your team?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how about the person who loves to go out there with all this great marketing material and this great company behind them and say, hey, I know you, I understand what your needs are. Our company and what we got can satisfy your needs better than anybody else on the planet, I guarantee it. And they just love selling. Would you like to be, do you think there are people like that you'd love to have on your team? Like a lot of them? Yeah, absolutely, you bet, no doubt about it, right? So, what Napoleon Hill learned from Andrew Carnegie was, you don't have to be an expert at anything except being an expert at finding the experts.
Yes.
That's all. And Andrew Carnegie said there were lots and lots of people walking the face of this planet that knew a lot more about the production of steel and selling steel than he personally did. But none of them knew how to bring them all together in the spirit of
Harmony.
Yeah. You think that makes a difference?
Hell yeah.
All the difference.
Yes.
All the difference. So if you've got a bunch of really, really super smart people in their areas that make a difference, on their own, they're only worth a little bit. When they're part of the whole and they're working in unison with all of the whole in the spirit of harmony, so that the goals of the company are more important than their own personal goals. You understand what I'm talking about? Yeah. Because if the company can make $100 million and they make $2 million of it on their own, they might make $50,000. Which would you rather? Work on your own, make $50,000, be part of something, make $2 million. Okay, and so this is how Andrew Carnegie not only became the wealthiest man in the world, but guess what happened to all the members of his mastermind? Guess what happened to them financially?
Came out rich.
He turned them all into what?
Millionaires.
Yeah. He was the maker of millionaires. You wanted to be part of his mastermind. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, right? So a mastermind, like, look, we're not talking about 2 minds here. How many minds are we talking about here? We're talking about, a bunch of minds, plus hopefully we've got a bunch of minds at home as well. So the thing is each one of you brings your own experiences and your own knowledge in certain areas. True or true? Sure. We've all covered a different path on our journey so far in life. True or true? True. Yeah, things that happen to you, your story is different than everybody else's story. Isn't that true? Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Your story is important to be told. You should be standing here like I am, sharing your story and helping other people as a result of your story. How many believe that's true? I want to get back into it. We're talking about mastermind. I had all these amazing aha moments this past weekend at the Think and Grow Rich Legacy event. How many of you guys went to that event? On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
11.
An 11? An 11? 11? I would say an 11. It's exactly what a city like Phoenix needs. It's exactly what you guys need. But the thing is, and then we're going to get into our training. But basically, when I was at this event, and I saw all these people, and I saw how totally inspired and motivated they were by Napoleon Hill. By the way, how many of you think I'm a big fan of Napoleon Hill? I know his stuff pretty much inside and out. So it was so great to see all of these people, kind of like a revival of Napoleon Hill. Because once upon a time, I used to say that if every teenager was forced to read and study, and the key word is study. What's the word?
Study.
Come on, voice it loud.
Study.
If every single teenager in America was forced to read and study Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, then within 5 years, the world will be a much better place. Much better place. But most people just don't have this knowledge. It's none of the stuff that's in Think and Grow Rich is taught in schools, guys. It's not. None of the stuff that when I was running Peak Potentials and we had all of our life-changing events, none of that stuff is taught in schools. If you don't go out and seek it out and learn on your own, chances are overwhelming you will never get it. How many would agree with that? Right? So to me, I mean, we're going to be doing our declarations, and I hope every single one of you is constantly committed to your own personal success, your own personal development. And for me, you know, it was eye-opening in many ways to be at this event. Number one, it was so great to feel the energy, because it kind of reminded me of when I ran Peak Potentials. The difference was there were about 150 people in the room, and by the way, of the 150 people, 25 of them were ours, so to speak, right? Our 2% club people. That's very good.
Good.
Right? So thank you to all of you guys who showed up, and those of you that are watching that came, and it really was an amazing event, and the speakers were just absolutely off the charts fantastic. And it reminded me of when Peak Potentials, so we would come to town for 3 days to do something called the Millionaire Mind Intensive. How many of you guys have ever been to the 3-day Millionaire Mind Intensive? And when we did it, you know, even here in Phoenix, at the beginning, we were getting somewhere around, I don't know, 700 people. So 700, I mean, imagine how many, 150 this weekend, imagine 700, right? That's like what, 4 times the size, right? 4 times the size, right? So we would, and that was a small group for us, but we were just building it here in Phoenix at the time. But the thing is that for 3 days, what's the energy like at the event? What's the energy like, guys?
High.
Yeah, the energy is super high, right? Everybody's going around each other, heart-to-heart hugging, high-fiving each other, telling everybody, you know what I heard? You know what I heard? I heard you've got a millionaire mind, right? And you could do that all day long, every day, and everybody had an amazing time, and the energy was through the roof. True. Right? I mean, and was it a great energy to learn it?
Yes.
How many agree that there's a certain energy for learning? That if you can get into that energy, learning is actually just like a ton of fun. True. Okay, I have found that to be true. And Harv mastered the skill of using what's called speed learning or accelerated learning techniques, so that not only would you be really involved in the learning process, because it wasn't so much his teaching as much as it was your learning. Which is more important, his teaching or your learning?
Learning.
Yeah, so the emphasis was not on him, it was on you. It was on you learning. Does that make sense? He was facilitating your learning. Sometimes he wasn't giving you the answers, he was just asking you the questions. And then he figured if you're smart, you'll figure it out. True. Right? Sometimes is it better to figure it out for yourself than to be told? How many things sometimes it's better to figure it out for yourself than to be told? Okay, so, you know, it's the difference instead of telling somebody something and asking questions in such a way that they can actually figure it out for themselves. How many think that's a great way to teach? And actually, it is a great way to teach. In fact, it's a proven way to teach, and it's incredibly effective, and it's not taught to teachers in the school. So teachers don't teach this way. So unless you go and watch someone like a Harv Eker, chances are you're not going to be taught by someone who uses these techniques. Now, if you are taught by someone that uses these techniques, someone like me, then hopefully if you're willing to participate at 100%, you're going to have a great experience, right? So the first thing is, all I ask before we get into the training, first of all, is that everybody participates and adds to the conversation. Do I have everybody's agreement on that? But when you have something to say, and hopefully that will be frequently, right? When you have something to say, raise your hand. I promise you we will get to you. Do I have everybody's agreement on that?
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, very good. All right. Now, if anybody decides that they need to have a sidebar conversation, would you please kind of like kick them in the side of the ribs or something, and let them know that right now we want 90 minutes of total focus. Do I have everybody's agreement on that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, great. Okay, were you going to ask a question?
No, I said I'll do the kicking.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Great. So the last thing is, we're only here for 90 precious minutes. So how long are we here for, guys?
90 precious
minutes.
Thank you. 90 precious minutes. I wish we had like hours and hours, but we only do have 90 precious minutes. And today, wealth file number 11 is really, truly a phenomenal wealth file. Because I think and hope that for many of you, you're going to have a major mind shift today. How many would like to have a major mind shift today? Right? Every day. Outstanding. So every day, right? Many times throughout the day. Those are the best, right? So before we do, I always go through kind of like the same kind of like regime, so you remember how things go around here, right? So anytime, first of all, you know, what's the expression? 80% of all success is
Showing up.
Showing up. How many would agree that just showing up, just getting in line and staying in line and just showing up, whether you're in the mood or not is totally irrelevant. You get in line and you stay in line, and you know what? The person that gets in line and stays in line is the one that eventually persists and wins. How many would agree with that? Right? Napoleon Hill, even in Think and Grow Rich, persistence, is that not one of the principles?
Yep.
Raise your hand if you agree. Persistence is one of the principles. And raise your hand if you think persistence is persistence a skill or a mindset? Is it an attitude or is it a skill? What do you think it is?
Attitude.
You think it's an attitude? Persistence is an attitude.
Can it
Okay.
be both? Because for some people that don't have it, can't it be learned?
Okay, well, that's why I'm asking you. Is persistence something that you could practice and getting better at?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Raise your hand if you agree. That
It doesn't matter how you feel, it matters what you do.
That's exactly right. Well, okay, so the thing is, I believe that all of us have a certain natural level of persistence in us.
Yes.
Right? Some are very, very low, some are a little bit higher, and some without them having to be coached, their persistence level is like forever, right? Right? It's called your NQ being more important than your IQ. And your NQ stands for your no quota. And your no in business and in sales and as an entrepreneur, your NQ is a million times more important than your
IQ.
Because if you've got a really high IQ and somebody kicks you in the groin once and you're down for the count forever, versus you have an average IQ and you don't care how many times you get kicked in the groin, you almost become oblivious to it. The person that can get up and get up and get up is always going to beat the person that when they get knocked down once, they're never going to get up. Because how many of you guys think that at some point, no matter how great you are, you're going to get knocked down?
Yep.
Huh?
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, they're great winners, but man, as soon as they lose, they say in boxing that as soon as a boxer gets knocked out for the first time in the ring, he's never ever the same as a boxer. How many believe that's true? They're never the same once they've experienced it. Totally different. They box differently. They're a completely different animal once they've been knocked out once. Until then, they may be fearless, but once they get knocked out once, that's it. And sometimes you see champions that once they get knocked out, they're never the same again, ever. Because you know what? It's not how many punches you can give. You know, what was it, that Rocky scene? He's talking to his son,
Yeah.
and he says, it's not how hard you can hit. It's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. True?
True.
Because that's what's going to happen in life. I mean, that's the reality of it. You know, it's not being a pessimist. That's just the way it is. Life is meant to have a yin and a yang. You can't recognize and enjoy the good without experiencing some of the
Bad.
because if all you ever had was the good, you wouldn't appreciate the good anymore because the good would be normal. True or true?
True.
If there's good, there's going to be bad. True or true?
True.
Is there good and bad in you?
Yeah.
Yeah, if somebody meets you on a bad day, is that too bad for them? Yeah. True or true? Do you have any control over any of it?
Yes.
What control do you have over it?
Ourselves.
My actions.
Yeah.
That's it, right? So what we want to do on Tuesday mornings is we want to take complete and total control of that whole situation. Because I have no idea from one day to the next, or even from 1 hour to the next, if you're in a good mood, a bad mood, you know, wanting to sabotage yourself, and I just happen to be part of the story, so unfortunately I'm collateral damage. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about here.
So that's
Yeah.
not your problem, because you can't control that.
You can't control that. That's why when you become a warrior, you know the only thing you can control and the only thing you worry about, you don't have to worry about, is you focus on yourself. So that nobody disappoints you if they don't come through because, you know, that's the way it is. You encourage them, You support them. You hope that if you're loyal to them, they'll be loyal to you, and that if your word to them is good, their word to you will be good. But at the end of the day, can you control anything? No, you can't control anything.
The unstoppable.
Right? You can't control anything. Thank you. So Tuesday mornings are really about you digging deep down inside yourself. Because one of the big things that most people simply do not understand is that you are not your mind. You know, we were talking about it last night a little bit during my warrior thing. But you are not your mind. Right? You're not your mind. And so what happens is, think of yourself as a computer program. You come into this world and some things are already programmed into you. Like you're programmed that when you want to drink, you need to eat, you need to pump your heart, you need to have blood, you need to poop, right? You got to do all these things. It's already programmed into you. True.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about that. You never have to think about it. I mean, you think about making blood every second?
No.
Do you think about your heart pumping every second? How about your lungs working all the time? How about your kidneys? How about your stomach? You don't think about any of that stuff, do you? It just automatically goes on, right? That's part of our basic operating system. True.
Sure.
But other than that, from day one, your mom and your dad and your siblings and then your teachers and then the neighbors and then television and then commercials, they're taking this computer that you have and they're throwing their program at you. And they're even called TV. Because guess what they're doing?
Programming.
Yeah. And so your little brain is sucking up information like crazy, and now you're sucking up everybody's information, and their programming becomes what? Your program. And it seems normal, it seems natural, you've always had that programming, so that's the way it must be. True. But is that your programming or somebody else's programming?
Somebody else's.
And then on top of it, most of the programming that we got from ourselves comes from our own experiences. How many of you have had experiences in your life? Yeah, every second is an experience, right? Right. Now, at what point did you start programming your mind? From your experiences. Immediately, right? Right. Within the first week of your life, do you think that you came to the conclusion that every time you cried and screamed long enough, somebody picked you up, and they hugged you, and they kissed you, and they fed you, and they changed you? And raise your hand if you think that within the first week, most babies have already figured out, oh, every time I cry, I get lots of attention. Raise your hand if you believe that. Okay. They can't speak yet, but they figure that out. Raise your hand if you believe that babies figure this stuff out. Okay. And by the way, aren't there a lot of people today that 40 years later and they still use that same strategy?
There's an app for that, Jeff.
What's it called?
Facebook.
Very good, absolutely. So what's happening here is, so we have
Randy and Mike.
so we have all of these people's programs running on our computer inside our brain. Are they our programs?
No.
Whose programs are they?
Other people.
But you listen to those programs all day long because that's called your little voice. Raise your hand if you know that you have a little voice. Yeah, we all have a little voice, right? And some people have a name for their little voice. Rufus, like for example, right?
Rufus is not me.
Okay, so
He's the naysayer. We don't need him.
So unfortunately, without most of you guys even realizing it, you've been cast under a spell. And most of your mind, most of the information in your subconscious mind, there are viruses like crazy. Anybody ever have a virus on their computer? What happens when you have a virus on your computer? It screws things up, right? Does the virus screw things up?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the best way for me to describe what's going on inside your mind is that your mind has so many viruses right now that no matter how badly you want to use a computer to get maximum results, it's not possible until you get rid of the viruses. How many of you have viruses inside of yourself right now? Big time. And you can't change that until you first become aware. What's the word, guys? Aware. Absolutely, you bet. So let me ask you, how many of you guys would like to have a lot more money in your life? A lot more money. Can I see show of hands? Thank you. How many would like to have a whole lot more happiness in your life? Great. How many would love to have a whole lot more of both in your life?
Yeah.
Okay, outstanding. So you're definitely at the right place. And again, I have 2 rules. How many rules do I have? 2. The first rule is this: don't believe a word I
Say.
Why do I always, always, always remind you not to believe a word I say?
It's your experiences and our experiences.
I can only come from my own experience. It does not make it true. It doesn't make it false. It doesn't make it right, and it doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it my experience. But whose experience is important here today?
Mine.
Yeah, your experience totally is important here today. So all I can tell you is that the information we're going to be talking about today has transformed my life and has now transformed the lives of literally thousands and thousands and thousands. Thank you. Thousands of other people. And if you learn them, and much more importantly, if you actually do them in your life, I'm convinced beyond any shadow of a doubt your life can be transformed too. So how many of you guys are willing to be open? And the key word is to be?
Open.
Come on, twice as loud.
Open.
Thank you. Open, open. And actually try these principles and ideas we're going to be sharing today in your life. Right? And if they work for you, you're going to keep on doing them. And if they don't work for you, you're free to
Disregard.
toss them away. How many guys want to be open 100%?
Yes.
Is anybody not? Just checking here. Okay. Very good. Now, as for rule number 2, since we're all spending our precious time here, how many of you agree your time is precious?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you agree with me on that. Time is very precious. It's like, I don't have time to sleep, it seems like most of the time. Seriously. There's not enough time in the day. How many feel that way sometimes? Yeah, I feel that way all the time. It's just, I wish they could have like a 26, 27-hour day, but it is what it is, right? There's not enough time to get everything done. So since we're spending our precious time here, how many of you guys want to get the very, very, very most out of this learning session?
Yes.
Great. How many want to learn faster?
Yes.
How many want to remember more of what you learned?
Yes.
Good. And research indicates that the key to all of that is what?
Participation.
Word is participation, guys. What is it?
Participation.
Thank you. Participation and involvement. So how many of you guys notice I ask a lot of questions?
Yes.
What do questions do?
Hook the mind.
Questions hook the mind. Right. How many of you guys are in business or in marketing or in sales of some sort? How many of you guys have clients you'd like to have clients? How many would like to have clients that actually listen to you every once in a while? Okay, from now on, what are we going to do? We're going to ask them a
Question.
Yeah, and once you learn how to ask a series of pre-planned questions, I'm telling all of you that I'm going to suggest to all of you that once you learn these pre-planned questions, the right questions in the right sequence, asked the right way, you will get rich. How many believe that's possible? Sure. I'm telling you, I know that's the fastest way. The fastest. The what? Fastest. How many want the fastest way to freedom? And I'm telling you, knowing how to ask the right questions to the right people in the right order will get you there the fastest. It's called sales. That's what it's called. Most people suck at it. But if you got great at it, trust me, that is the fastest way I know it. True, true.
True.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I mean, I'm living proof of it. When I was getting out of college in Canada and I wanted to get down here and I was broke, and I went to the Fagin's office, the counselor, to find out about career choices. I said, what career pays the most money? Guess what she said?
Sales.
Yeah. If you're good in sales, what do you think your income can be?
Unlimited.
Give me a number. Unlimited is too nebulous. You think good people who are good in sales can make $100,000 a year?
Yes.
$200,000 a year?
Yes.
$300,000 a year?
Yep.
4?
Yep.
5?
Yep.
6?
Yep.
7? 8? Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you know what? It's no harder sometimes to sell a $25,000 car than it is to sell a $250 million project. Same amount of time, same amount of effort. The only difference is you're going to make 10 times more money at the end of the paycheck.
True.
There's no limit. And does every company need sales, or a lot of companies don't need sales?
Every company.
Is there any company that can live without sales?
No.
unless they're getting 100% funded from like the United Way, so they don't need any additional revenues, and I don't know any company that doesn't have to at least do that. I ran a large nonprofit. We still had to bring in membership dues and do fundraising events and offer services, and we still have to count, you know, a nonprofit is not supposed to be for loss. Right? They still have to cover enough money to cover their expenses. True or true?
True.
Do you think a nonprofit still has to be run like a business?
Yes.
Yeah, it still has to be run by like a business. Trust me, I know. I ran one. We had to run it like it was a business. Right? So the difference is when you're doing a nonprofit, you're not looking at the more profits you make, instead of those profits going back to the shareholders or whatever. Those profits means you can give more scholarships. What's the word?
Scholarships.
So, like we had a daycare center. So if we had an additional $10,000 when we had families that couldn't afford the full cost of the daycare, we had a scholarship committee, and they'd say, okay, well, we'll give you $4,000 in scholarships toward daycare services. So we never had a profit. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
But the more money we made, the more scholarships we could give, the more services we could provide. True or true?
True.
And I believe that's the way it works. And you know what? That's how we should be as human beings. Once you reach a certain level, most everything you're doing, you could do exactly the same way that a nonprofit does, which means that you create scholarships. You find truly people that have need, especially couples too. Like we did a lot of scholarships to husband and wife, and they've got 2 kids. Both of them have to work. Who's going to take care of the kids all day? True or true?
Sure.
So we have a daycare. So, you know, we had a committee. They would tell us their situation, and we'd say, okay, sometimes they got full free ride. Good or good?
Awesome.
Yeah. Is that a good reason to support an agency that offers scholarships?
Yep.
Because the goal is the more profits you make, the more scholarships you give, and that wipes out the profits. So there's no profit. But that doesn't mean that a nonprofit shouldn't be making profits. The more profits they actually make, the more scholarships they give, and at the end of the day, there's no profit. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Because they're in business to provide services. True or true?
Yeah.
That's usually what a nonprofit is. I know. Trust me, I worked in the industry. I understand it very, very well. Now, do you think most people who work in the nonprofit industry are business people or more social workers?
Social workers.
What do you think in the nonprofit industry? Yeah, you think they're very good business people? No, that's why most nonprofits suffer, because they're a bunch of social workers who don't really have any skills in business, who don't have any skills in business, and now they're running a business. True. Okay. So sometimes I leave the last word off the end of my sentence, and your mind just fills in. Yeah. Sometimes I ask you to write something down, and sometimes I ask you to repeat things. Why do I always ask you to repeat something? Repetition is the mother of learning. That's absolutely true. We should let me hear all of you guys say it.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Again, please.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Tap yourself and say it.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Tell your neighbor that.
Repetition is the mother of learning.
Yeah, repetition.
Awesome.
Sometimes, and it's not just repeating it over and over for a day or two. It's like over a longer period of time, so it gets really deeply ingrained in your DNA. You know, I was talking about this last night. Did you know that the cells, every living cell in your body, including your organs, your eyes, your hair, everything, all these cells are born, live, and die? How many agree?
Yes.
In fact, they were saying how many dead cells there are on your mattress. Okay, we won't go there. But my point is, if you look at yourself right now, you are not at all made up of any of the cells you were 10 years ago. Every single cell in your body has been born, lived, and died. True or true?
True.
And I haven't told this story for a while, but one of the things that I used to love Harv Eker talk about was this idea of changing things at the cellular level? How many would like to change things at the cellular level? So it's kind of like if I was to say to you, let's say your whole life you had an expression like, it takes money to make money. How many of you guys have ever heard that expression? It takes money to make money. How many believe there's a certain amount of truth to that? It takes money to make money, right? Okay. So, what? What's that?
It doesn't have to be my money.
Thank you. Okay, all right. Okay, so here's this guy whose book we're going to delve into in just a few minutes, and he has no money. He's broke. He borrows $2,000. So what does he do? Borrows. What's he do? Borrows. He borrows $2,000 OPM, right? $2,000 off his Visa credit card to start his business in Toronto. That a little over 2 years later, he sells to the H.J. Heinz Corporation for $1.6 million in cash. Wow. Now, how many of you guys would like to start with a $2,000 Visa credit card loan and a couple of years later have $1.6 million sitting in your pocket? How many would like to have that? Okay. So does it take money to make money, or does it take creativity to make money? Creativity. Now, as soon as you go from a mindset that says it takes money to make money to it takes creativity to make money, does that open up a whole new bunch of doors for you to walk through if you're interested? Yes, yes?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so now you hear, and when you hear somebody say to you, yeah, Paul, but you know what, it takes money to make money. And then that little voice inside your head says, well, I've always thought that, but here's Jeff, and Jeff is saying it takes creativity to make money, right? Okay, so here's what's happening. Our cells are born, they live, and they're dying. True or true? True. That's what's happening on every cell in our body. So right now, let's say the cells in your body come with a DNA that believes it takes money to make money. Do you think that is in your DNA, that in some people's DNA right now, that's their mindset?
Yes.
Now here's what's happening. What happens is as a cell gets old and it realizes it's about to die, it starts to train the new DNA that's going to replace it. So here it is, the old cell is about to die, and it says, well, it's about time for me to go. My time's pretty much up here. Okay, so here's what you need to know. You need to know it takes money to make. No, hold on. Why you used to think it takes money to make money, but you know what? You figure it out. Okay, so now the cells in your body are more receptive to it takes. Instead of it takes money to make money, that it takes creativity to make money. And now, as you keep reinforcing that, as the old cells die off and the new cells are born, guess what at the cellular level, guess what your cells are doing as the old cells die and the new cells come on board? At the cellular level, what is happening to you? What do you think?
Change.
Yeah. You are not the same person. You might look at a picture of yourself 10 years ago and that you are not that person. There's not one cell in your body now that was alive when that picture was taken. True or true? Sure. Yeah. And the DNA gets carried on from one generation to the next. True or true? Yeah. Okay, well, you know what? It's been scientifically proven that we can actually alter our DNA with our thoughts. Good or good?
Yeah.
Right? That's a good thing to know. How many would agree?
That's great.
Right? So, to me, and the sooner the better, right? Right? Okay, so it's one thing to know it, but it's a whole different thing to live it. True or true?
Yes.
Because how many times have you ever heard that little voice inside your head say the three most dangerous words? And what are the three most dangerous words?
I know.
I know that. I know that. How many times have you ever heard that little voice say that to you? Yeah. Now, let me say something. You know how if you know something? When you're actually doing it, that's when you know. Otherwise, you've heard about it, you've read about it, you sure talk about it, but you don't know it. True or true? True. Now, the thing is that why do you think that little voice says to you, I know that? Why do you think that little voice says that to you?
It's
Go
easy.
ahead, Brian.
The one thing that it hates more than anything is change.
Well, absolutely, right? So the reason it tells you that is it wants to protect you. So what does that little voice want to do?
Protect.
Yeah, what's that little voice want you to do? It wants to protect you, right? What does it want you to protect you from?
Everything.
Danger. What does that little voice want to protect you from?
Yeah, everything.
Anything new,
Change.
different.
Change. Anything that takes it out of its knowledge base, its comfort zone, anything where you're going to have to step out into the jungle and figure it out, every time that you're not in your comfort zone, it doesn't want you going there because it wants to protect you. What's it want to do?
Protect.
It's like the overbearing mother. You guys anybody ever had an overbearing mother wanting to protect you like crazy? They mean well, but you're never going to accomplish anything when you have an overbearing mother. True or true? Right? They won't allow you to do anything. They keep you under their grip. True or true? Right? Okay. So, anyways, I could go on in that direction for a while. What I really want to do, more than anything, is before we get into the book, I want to go through the declarations. Now, where's the sign-in sheet, guys?
We passed
I
it.
already passed it around.
Okay, so where is it now? Okay, thank you, because my declaration sheets are with the sign-in sheets, okay? Has everybody signed in? No. Okay, all right, so before you do that, let me just pull out some of these declaration sheets here. Okay. So, how many of you guys need a declaration sheet? Okay. I'll show you. I don't have a whole lot. Here's what I would suggest, guys, is that take a picture of it, put it on your phone. We're actually going to have some cards made, some laminated cards made. Right? But raise your hand right now. And again, I really would encourage you to take your smartphone right now, if you haven't already, and make sure that you've got the declarations on your smartphone. Okay, so who can tell me what declarations are? What are they? Hello? Everybody said they were going to pay it 100%, right? Yes? Okay, so what are declarations? Aaron?
They're like affirmations, things you say that, that personal statement.
Okay, personal statement. Anybody want to add anything to that? Okay, go ahead, Randy.
Positive statements that you make emphatically out into the universe.
Very good, exactly. That's exactly what we do. So when we do our declarations, and by the way, I don't know pretty much any other real club that as part of their kind of like, I don't want to call it rituals, but yeah, I guess it's a ritual, right? Is to do declarations because Napoleon Hill himself, the father of the whole personal development arena, he was a huge proponent of this whole thing called declarations. He truly believed it. And I know that having been to dozens and dozens and dozens of personal development and business training seminars that we put on when I ran Peak Potentials, I saw the power of saying these declarations. Imagine if you were going to say this now, in a couple of hours you're going to say it again, or one more time before lunch, then after lunch you're going to say it 3 or 4 more times. That's repetition, because repetition is
Mother of learning.
Now imagine for 3 days you're going to be saying these declarations out loud 7 or 8 times every day for 3 days. Do you think it might start sinking in a little bit more? How many agree? Right? That's how powerful these declarations are. Well, I doubt most of you guys, even if you do have these, say them out loud daily. I hope at least you come here every week and say them out loud with me. Right? Because that's the power of these declarations. You need to nurture these ideas again and again and again, so as the old DNA dies away and the new DNA comes on board, guess what the new DNA you're installing in your new DNA? This stuff right here. You understand? Now, if you don't agree with it, don't say it. That's fine. You don't have to agree with these. These, in my opinion, are all very empowering, positive statements. I can't imagine why any of you wouldn't believe in any and every single one of them, but if you don't agree with it, don't say it. If you do agree with it, why do you say it out loud with emotion, guys? Why do you say it out loud with emotion?
Subconscious.
Especially for our subconscious mind. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Yeah. Where do you think most of your happiness and joy and thinking and knowledge resides. In our subconscious mind, right? And again, unfortunately, about 90% of everything that's in our subconscious mind is contaminated with lies. 90%. And we're so used to living in the lies, that it seems so normal and logical to us, we can't even recognize it. True. It's kind of like, I always use the example. The only time a water never realizes that it lives in water until when?
Fish.
I'm sorry, a fish. Pardon me, a fish.
How does the water live in the water?
He's out of the water.
Okay, a fish doesn't know that it lives in water until when?
He's out of the water.
Until all time. And you won't know you're living in your lies until when?
Awareness.
Until you become aware enough to realize that, right? Until you can do what I teach in warrior training, which is, here's your mind. Your mind, right, it's like a computer. People have been throwing all kinds of trash and garbage into it since the day you were born, and you made a whole bunch of assumptions when you were a little teeny tiny kid, and that became the program you've been listening to for the rest of your life. And so you are already contaminated with a bunch of lies, and all day long, everybody who's contaminated with lies talks to you, and guess what they tell you?
Lies.
Yeah, and you take it all in, and now their lies become your lies. As soon as you accept what they say is 100% the truth, it must be the truth. Yeah, unless somebody proves otherwise, right? So, that's why I say, don't believe a word I say. Because everybody slants every conversation they have in one way or another. Somehow, if they describe an incident to you today, in 2 months from now, they may describe it a little bit differently. True or true? True. Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, if you tell the story a certain way, a certain amount of time, that story becomes the truth. True or true? True. And none of it is true. It's all a bunch of lies.
Story.
It's just a story. True or true?
True.
Now, what I'm telling you is, you need to start taking control of the stories you're going to accept into your mind. The knowledge you're going to accept into your mind, right? You read people like Harv, you read people like Napoleon Hill, that's 100% pure knowledge. That's the kind of stuff you need to be placing in that 90% of your practice. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
So it starts with really making it complete and total commitment. And the best way to make that commitment to yourself is to say it out loud with enthusiasm, because not only is that message a vibration, true or true? And the more emotion you have behind it, the higher the frequency, true or true?
Yes.
So if you say it with a lot of emotion, that energy goes out into the universe and comes back, and it's received by your subconscious mind, true or true?
True.
Okay. Your subconscious mind needs to hear this coming from you, true or true?
Yes.
It needs to hear it coming from you over and over and over and over again, because repetition is the mother of
Learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's do our declaration. Everybody stand up on the count of 3. So, 1. All right. Okay. All right. So let's put our hands on our hearts, and all together, let's go. I commit to my personal development. Whatever I do it 100% or not at all. How I do anything is how I do everything. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say. I choose financial freedom and the lifestyle it provides. My goal is to create passive income streams. I will master the skills and mindset of business. I will never quit until I succeed. I am a millionaire mind. Turn to both your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're awesome. Wow, you're awesome, buddy. All right. Okay. Have a seat, guys. Have a seat. Great job. Great job. Great energy. Right. Everything is energy. How many would agree?
Yes.
And I can tell you, before we get into this wealth file, I do want to say a couple of things about this last weekend at the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich event. I know Sheila was there, right? And so, again, which one of you guys were there? We had a number of you guys. And again, we had 25 guests, 25 members of our 2% club that showed up. And there were only 150 people in the room approximately. So to me, again, let's give it up for our club. those few people that were there for those 2 days, I started to mention that if the energy inside that facility for those 2 days was off the charts amazing. How many would agree?
Yes.
Everybody agreed. It was truly inspirational stuff, and if you believe in Napoleon Hill the way I do, it was great to hear all this stuff. And the speakers, each and every single speaker was world class. How many would agree with that? These were like the best of the best. Sure. I mean, they were. And you don't get an opportunity to be in that energy all that often. Right? For some people, for many people, that was the first time they'd ever been in an energy like that. And how many would agree? There were people that had never been in an energy like that before. So the thing is it reminded me, as I started to mention, that when I ran Peak Potentials, let's say we would come to Phoenix, and we come to Phoenix, and for 3 days the energy was off the charts. Have you guys ever gone to a multi-day event that the energy was just off the charts amazing? Raise your hand if you've ever been to something like that. We all have, pretty much, right? High energy. It's kind of like the circus comes to town, right? And everybody has a wonderful time, and at the end of 3 days, the tents come down, the circus moves on the road because they're having the show, and everybody goes back to their lives, and pretty much within a week, what happened to all that energy, all that excitement, all that enthusiasm? What happened to all of that?
Out the window.
The only thing you say was, man, was it ever good. Didn't change my life, but man, was it ever good. True. This is what happens, right? We get a shot, and then, a shot of adrenaline, and then after that wears off in a few days, and the reality of life steps back in again. It's back to the same old. True. Exactly. And so I remember when I ran Peak Potentials, and we'd come to the Meeting of Mind Intensive, we'd have all these people that were like sky high. And many of them didn't have thousands of dollars to go on to our other programs. And so pretty much, guess what happened to all the people that came to our Millionaire Mind Intensive for 3 days, and then they just went back to their life? What do you think happened to most of those people?
Not a damn thing.
They went back to the way they were. And so what I became addicted. See, I've been to the top of the mountain. I want to share this with you because I want to be enticed to come to the top of the mountain. I became addicted to the energy of learning and growing, especially when it came to business, and then applying the things that I had learned and doing them in business. I was addicted to that energy. And at Peak Potentials, we had our events, which was a certain energy, and then up in Vancouver, we had our home office. And when I came on board, we had 35 employees. And when I was building the company, it went from 35 to 135 in a very short period of time. So is that rapid growth? Do you ever think that's rapid growth? I mean, you have no idea. And this is back like in 2003, when technology isn't the way it is today. When IT was a lot different than IT is today. When everything was a lot different than what it is today. So, I mean, and the energy at our home office, we had 135 warriors. What did we have?
135 warriors.
These were people that had all been through warrior training, and they were committed to being absolutely the very best version of themselves they could be, and nothing was going to stop them. And we truly built a mastermind. The people that loved being in IT, guess where they were?
IT.
The people that really loved logistics, and setting up the hotels, and setting up the flights, and setting up all the other stuff, guess where we had them working? In logistics. The people that love being on the phones and answering people's calls and closing them, guess where we had them?
On the phone.
Doing that. So we had people that really placed a high value on themselves. Because understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
We set a standard like this and said, would you like to come and join our team and be a warrior and stick with and keep up with our high standards? Would you like to be part of that? And a lot of people said yes. And the people that said yes, if they could prove themselves, they joined the tribe. Now you have 135 people that will do whatever it takes all day long. They're not into excuses. They're only interested in results. What are they interested in?
Results.
Yeah. If you're doing something and you're not doing it right and you're wasting time and we're not going to meet our budget, it's okay for me to stand up and say to you, hey man, you know what? We got to fix it. We got to fix it now. If you can't do it, let me know. I'll help you. You got a tribe of people here who are willing to help you. You can't slow things up. We got to get to the finish line. Very true. We used to have one event at Warrior Training where it was a bunch of people, a tribe. The idea was to get to the top of the mountain the fastest. And if there were 50 people in the tribe, you may be fast as a deer, but it didn't matter who was the fastest one to the top. It was the slowest person. When the slowest person in your tribe got to the top, that's when your time was in. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yep.
So, if you were a really, really in shape person and you could get to the top of the mountain in no time, and someone else wasn't in such great shape and they were struggling, guess what you did?
Slow down.
Help them.
Or help them.
Help
You
them.
helped them.
Help
You said,
them.
hop on my back. Hop on my back. We got to get to the finish line. The strongest people were helping the
Weaker.
if you were a good team. Otherwise, what was the sense? The strong guy was up at the top waiting for everybody else. It didn't matter how fast he got there. What was good for the team was good for everybody. True or true?
True.
Okay, you think most people think that way?
No.
Not in a million years. Do you think if you're strong, you're going to help the weak person, or you're just going to leave the weak person die? Right?
Yep.
Now, the very next day, we may have done another event where the strong person was helping the weak person. Guess what might exactly happen the very next day? Yeah, now we're going to walk on fire. The strong person's great at getting to the top of the mountain, but there's no way in hell he's going to walk across all those hot coals. But the weak person who had a struggle getting on, he has no problem getting across those hot coals. He says, Scott, you can do it, buddy. I guarantee you. It's not going to hurt. They wouldn't do this if you were going to get hurt. So don't worry about it. I'll go ahead of you. You just follow what I do. Fair enough?
Got it.
Okay. Now, who took the lead the second day?
Other person.
Weak person.
They were the strong person the second day.
Correct.
The strong person the first day was the weak person the second day. But guess what? We had a tribe. What do we have?
Tribe.
When you were strong, you helped the weak. And when you were weak, you knew you had a tribe that could help you. Imagine working on a team and being part of a team like that. It was unfreaking believable. It was like driving a race car where you could go 250 miles an hour, and I could actually put my pedal to the metal, and no matter how fast I wanted to drive the car, we could do it. True, true.
Yeah.
Well-oiled machine. And we had all kinds of incentives to improve everything that we were doing in every department. We paid bonuses, best idea of the week. So guess what everybody was trying to think about all day long while they were doing their job?
Yeah.
Yeah, we even reward you. Would you like to work in a place where they reward you if you come up with a better way to do it than the way it's currently being done?
Yes.
Do you think that's a good way to grow a business quickly?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the best way. They're doing the job all day long. Who should know a better way to do it than them? They can figure out a better way. They're doing it all day long. They're thinking about it all day long. We got a million other things to think about. True or true? We can't think about their job the way they can think about their job. True or true?
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem is, all of you guys think of yourself as solopreneurs. What do you think of yourself as? Solopreneur. Yeah, raise your hand if you think of yourself as a solopreneur. Almost every single person, really, deep down inside, you're solopreneurs. Yeah, you got to take care of everything, right? You got to take care of everything. That is not going to work. Now, what I want to do is, here's my marker. Okay. So what I want to do is, real quickly, I want to get into this wealth file. So wealth file number 11 to me is like one of the most important wealth files in this entire book. If you're really serious about earning a living outside of having a job. In other words, if you're going to learn your living from some way other than trading time for money. Because wealth file number 11 says, number 11 says,
1, 2, 3.
very much. It says, rich people choose to be paid based on results. What do we get? What do we choose to be paid based on? Results. What's the word?
Results.
Twice as loud.
Results.
Okay, results are very, very, very important. Now, poor people choose to be paid based on
Time.
time. Okay, results versus time. So everybody knows good old God bless Sharon Lesher and Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So we have these people here. B stands for
Employee.
S stands for
Self-employed.
yeah, B stands for
Business owner.
and I stands for investor. Okay, and
Investor.
for money.
Yeah, they trade time for money. Every hour they work, they get paid, right? They're either getting paid by the job or by the hour or by salary, but they're going to put in a certain amount of time, and at the end of that time, they're going to get paid. True. Now over here, that only leaves 5% of the people. They don't get paid based on their time. The amount of time they work is totally irrelevant. They get paid based on what?
Results.
So a business owner gets paid on the results of the business. If he works his ass off for a year and then loses money, is he entitled to make any money? No, the business lost money. But if he's in business and he figures out how to make $10 million, how much of it does he get to keep? Is there any limit to how much he can earn? No, there's no limit. Now, for these people here, is there a limit to how much they can earn? Yeah, because you know what? There's only so many hours in a day. True. Right? Okay, so, you know, for these people here, all they can say is, well, if I'm going to be working 40 hours a week, maybe I can go from $40 an hour to $60 an hour. At some point, you're going to have a hard time treating people that want to pay you $60 an hour. True. I mean, there's only so many people that want to pay that, especially nowadays when you can outsource almost everything, and I mean everything, around the world for way less than that. True.
Yep.
You sure can. I'm telling you, the world has changed so much that, you know, if you have a skill, you have what's called a commodity. What's it called?
Commodity.
Yeah. Okay, so the entrepreneur, guess what he does? He hires people that have skills. He hires people that have the commodity he needs. True. He doesn't have to have that skill. I can hire, if I can make $2,000 an hour selling something, and I got to pay you $200 an hour to do it, what's better use of my time? Selling it or doing it? Yeah, if I can pay you $200 an hour and I'm making $2,000 an hour, right? I'm going to build you this most amazing, whatever, Aaron. It's absolutely unbelievable. It's going to increase your business to $100,000. You know, right now I just brought somebody new on board. He's absolutely fantastic. So we have some extra time. So I'm able to offer you a really great deal. Normally it's a $5,000 deal, but because we have someone new on board, I can get it to you for $2,500. You want to start right now, or you want to start? Great, thank you. Right now, terrific. Okay, so I just told you a website that you're buying for $2,500, and I can get you to do it for $300. How much did I just make?
$2,200.
Woo! How much work did I do?
About 1 minute work.
That's it. True.
True.
Yeah. Can I find people to get the work done that are really good at what they do?
Yes.
Yeah, and they don't want to do the part where I close the business. Because where's all the money? Closing the business, right? I'm telling you, how many of you guys want to make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time? Then, I really, I've been thinking about this like non-stop. It's like it's been going off in my brain like unbelievable for a while now. Number one is you will never be successful in a business until you have the confidence to be getting paid based on your results. And most people are afraid to get paid based on their results because they're afraid their results aren't going to be very good. And then what are they going to do? Right? It's a big problem for a lot of people. True. Okay, we want the security of knowing we've got that paycheck. True.
Yep.
And then it's in our DNA. True.
Yep.
So you got to start changing your DNA. True.
True.
Hey, we do have to start changing our DNA. So you have to be like, if I had a sales team, I have 5 people, okay, and every Friday we get together and we go over their numbers. And I got one guy, and he is busting his butt. He's working harder than anybody. He has 0 sales. And then I have another person. He's kind of semi-busting his butt, but he's doing some pretty good sales. Then I have a third guy. This person seems like all he ever does is spend time at the bars and on the golf course, and he's closing business like crazy. I don't know that he ever works. All he does is he just makes a shitload of money. Yes, sir. Now, which one of these 3 salespeople do you want to dedicate your time to if you're the sales manager? The one that's not generating any results, the one that's doing okay, or the one that's doing amazing?
It's doing amazing.
It's doing amazing.
What do you want to do with the first and the second?
Clint?
Forget about the first one and maybe work with the second one.
Okay, that's right. Now, is that being cold-hearted? Raise your hand if you think that's being cold-hearted. If you hired someone and they weren't performing, would you have a hard time firing them? Raise your hand if you'd have a hard time firing someone. Come on, be honest. Yeah. You know, here's the thing, is that to be a business owner, to be successful in the B quadrant, do you think being successful as a business owner, you're going to face level 2 challenges, level 3 challenges, level 5 challenges, level 8 challenges, level 10 challenges? What kind of challenges do you think you're going to face? All of the above. And certainly you're definitely going to be facing level 10 challenges. How many would agree? Right? Okay. So if you are a level 2 person, then as long as whatever challenges you're facing are at a level 2 or below, you're good to go. True or true?
True.
But what happens to you as a business owner when you face a level 3 problem? A level 4, a level 5, a level 6, a level 10? What happens then? Or you die. Right? Now, are these problems of being an entrepreneur ever going to go away? No, they're never going to go away. And as an entrepreneur, you have to figure out a way how to solve every single problem that comes at you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, go ahead, sir.
I would seek people who already solved those problems, who are already all level 10.
Okay, all right. Very good.
To get the answers.
Very good. But my point is this. If you honestly and truly want to become successful in something other than a job, something here and here, if you want to be successful in here where there are no guarantees, how many agree?
Yep.
When you get into business, there's no guarantees. Everybody has dreams of grandeur. You know how many people crash and burn? Most. Right? Everybody has these dreams of grandeur. And then trust me, I'm 65. I've been consulting and in the business world forever. I've seen so many people crash and burn, it's scary, right? So level 10 challenges are always going to be there. So guess what you need to grow into? Because if you're a level 2 person, you know more than likely what kind of people you hang around with. You know what kind of people you're more than likely going to hire. You know what kind of business you're going to have. Yeah, you know how long that business is going to be in business? No. So guess what your goal needs to be all day long, every day?
To be the best version of yourself that you can be.
That's right. To grow into that level 10 person. When you're a level 10 person, no matter what challenge comes up as an entrepreneur, guess what? You're equal to the task, even the biggest. Because entrepreneurship is the toughest way I know of to make it. The failure rate is through the roof. It is. Right? Unless you get street smart. And that's who Hart is. And Hart says, you don't have time to get great at everything you've got to get great at. You have to create a mastermind. You have to surround yourself with the right people. True. Right. And you want those people to be level 10 people, and if you're not a level 10 person, your intention is to grow into one. True or true?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna reiterate, because it isn't just surrounding yourself with these people. So I worked as a consultant and I was hired to do a company by a gentleman that, what we wrote down was that about people being paid based on results versus time. And they were in a contract where they were paid and it wasn't based on results. So I observed them and he hired me because I'm level 10 and he's level 2 and he knows it. And I said, my recommendation is you fire them all. Because they're always going to just do the bare minimum and to get by. And on the board, on the sales board, was 3 sets, nothing. Because they didn't have to do anything. There was no result-based pay. So what happened though was after I suggested that, he couldn't do it. Because he didn't do what Ryan just said, which is not just surround yourself with the 10, but you have to become 10.
Yes.
So guess who's now going bankrupt and losing his business? Because it's not enough to surround yourself with these people. It's not enough to get that advice. You have to be strong and grow there yourself and take that advice.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you're still going to lose everything.
No question.
Yeah, exactly.
All of us, thank you. I mean, all of us need to truly, one of the programs I'm going to be offering, the 2% Club is going to be offering, is a 2-day training on leadership. Because if you can be a leader in your family, you can be a leader in your community, you can be a leader of your tribe, you can be a leader in many, many ways. How many would agree?
Yes.
And do you believe leaders are born, or you can learn how to become a great leader? Yeah. And one of the things about being a great leader is having vision. What's the word?
Vision.
A vision that people buy into, people resonate with, people appreciate. Because you're going to have to not only be great at attracting customers, but you have to be great at attracting partners or investors or employees or strategic, joint venture partners or whatever the case may be. And you know, that's a certain energy. How many would agree?
Yes.
You have to be able to do all that stuff. So this whole idea that we need to be paid based on our time is unfortunately so deeply ingrained in all of your DNAs right now that it is part of who you are, whether you like to admit it or not. You like to get paid on your time, right? And what we have to do is we have to change your DNA so that, again, number one is you become unstoppable. You become a level 10 person. And really, without warrior training, I don't believe you can. Because a level 10 person has to be unstoppable. And there are two kinds of people out there, people who will be stopped and people who will
Won't be.
Somebody would agree.
Yes.
Okay, who do you want to align yourself with? The people that can be stopped or the people that can't be stopped? Okay, well, if you want to surround yourself with unstoppable people, guess what you need to become?
Unstoppable.
Yeah, right now, most of you have mind frick going on that will stop you. Trust me, I know this. Okay. So if you can become unstoppable, then the best business people on the planet, the most important part of their business is which one of the three areas? Production, operations, or marketing and sales? What do you think is the most
Sales.
Marketing and sales. The companies that have the most marketing budgets and the most sales are the ones that are the biggest. True or true? True. Now, because somehow they figured out a way to get people to spend money with them. True or true? True. How do we know that they're spending money with them? How do we know that?
So they have money for marketing.
They spend. Why do you think the biggest companies in the world have huge, gigantic sales and marketing budgets?
Well, that's how you make money. You can't be successful
Friend of
unless
mine
you're
works
marketing and selling.
Anybody else? Why do you think they're willing to spend, I don't know, how many millions of dollars for a 1-minute commercial during the Super Bowl?
Exposure?
Part of business. Most important part of business.
Marketing.
Because it works. It's
Eyeballs.
results.
Because it works? Yeah, go ahead, Jonathan.
Because they have a formula.
They have a formula. And look,
QQS.
I'm going to teach you guys something, and I hope you're open to receiving. Look, the most important thing in business is to get and keep a customer. That is the most important thing. Now, by definition, a customer must have paid you something, which means that you're making what? Sales. What are you making? Sales. You're making sales. You're making lots and lots and lots and lots and
Lots.
and
Lots.
and
Lots.
and
Lots.
and
Lots.
of sales. And that's not in your DNA right now. It's not. And until it is, you will not be successful as an entrepreneur. You won't. Now, once you get really, 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 really good at selling, so it's kind of like when I was buying and selling websites. The first thing we did when we bought a website was we looked at the conversion rate. What did we look at?
Conversion
rate. Who knows what a conversion rate means? BP, what's a conversion rate?
How many people you get into your store or website and how many people actually buy?
Okay, how many people coming in isn't necessarily the number. The conversion rate is out of every 100 people that come onto your website, how many of them do you get them to convert to take the action? Maybe it's enter your name and your email address and we're going to send you something for free, right? What's the conversion rate? When people come, how many? Okay, so let's say I'm sitting down and I'm not an expert in marketing. I'm smart in marketing, but I'm not the expert in marketing. There are copywriters that are much, much better than me. That's all they do all day long. And hopefully, if you're doing something all day long and it's your passion, chances are you get pretty good at it. True or true?
True.
So I know people that are great at copywriting. So I'm not the best copywriter. I never professed to be. But I write okay copy, better than most, but I want level 10, and I'm like at level 7. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So if I have to depend on myself, okay, but I'd much rather have somebody that knows how to write really, really, really great sales copy. And now I lost my, what were we just talking about? I lost my
Conversion rate.
Conversion rate, thank you. Okay, so I say to my copywriting buddy, what do you think about this landing page? And he says, the wording sucks. The opt-in box is below the fold, which means people have to scroll down to see it. It's on the wrong side, and the offer that they're giving is so weak. I can see why nobody would ever want to opt in. Here's what I suggest we did. We moved the opt-in box from way down there to the upper right-hand corner, so they're going to see it as soon as they come in. We make this irresistible offer that if they give us their name and their email address, they're going to get something really valuable in return for it that's going to be worth them giving us their information. Okay? And we're going to change the look and the feel of the landing page so it seems a whole lot more successful. Now, how long do you think it takes a professional to do all that?
Less than a day.
20 minutes?
Yeah, a couple of hours at the most, really. A good professional can do that quickly. Now, the same amount of traffic, but instead of 2 out of every 1,000, there's now 2 out of every 100. We just 10 times the conversion rate. True or true?
Yeah.
10 times it. It didn't really cost us much of anything. Well, now that we know it converts, we know that 2 out of every 100 people that come to this site are actually buying or doing what we want for them to do. Now the only thing is, how much traffic do we want to send to the site? True or true? True. Now, do we want to start spending a whole bunch of money to send traffic to a site that doesn't convert? Or do we make sure it converts and then spend money to have all people come to the site? Which do you think comes first?
Conversion.
The conversion comes first. So now, you know it's converting. Now, I'm going to pay for people that will be interested in this to come here because I know that 2 out of every 100 are going to buy, and it costs me $50 in marketing, and I make $500 in profits. How many of you would spend $50 in marketing to make $500 in profits? What if then the next day you spend $500 in marketing and you made $5,000 in profit? Would you do that? What about the next day you spend $5,000 in marketing and you made $50,000 in sales? That's called scaling. What's it called?
Scale.
Yeah, absolutely. You can scale, right? Okay, so the thing is that all of you guys right now, your most powerful asset is you. You in front of somebody that might be interested or is interested or has a need for what your solution is. Because all of you guys need to find something where you have a solution for somebody else. True or true?
True. Yeah.
Okay, so if you don't know what the solution is, the problem that you're solving, number one, you have a problem. Right? If you want to become financially free in the next 12 to 24 months and you want to learn how to do it, I have a solution for you. Be interested in listening to me? How many interested in listening? Anybody not? Okay, so some people may not, but so at least I have a value proposition. I believe you work with me for the next 12 to 24 months, you will be financially free. And the first thing I'm going to teach you is how to become an unstoppable warrior, because it doesn't matter what I teach you until you become unstoppable. Kind of like what BP talks about when he does his mentoring. He doesn't even talk about real estate before you work on the mind first. Sure. You gotta have the right mindset, because if you're working with a level 2 person, you're never going to get anything more than what kind of results? You got to get them up to level 10 first, or at least on their way. True or true? Okay, and you got to be on your journey to get up to level 10.
Yep.
That's just the way it has to be, and nobody can do it for you. It's not like somebody can do your push-ups for you. You got to do them for yourself. True or true?
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that for you, right? So as you move up the ladder, you become unstoppable. The second thing I'm going to tell you is, if I teach you how to become great in sales, you know what kind of money you can make? Unlimited. You know what you can sell?
Anything.
You become a professional. What's the word?
Professional.
You learn how to become a professional at selling. How many degrees selling is a that's totally. So if you are unstoppable and you now learn how to sell, And every time someone says yes to you, because we've taught you how to get your conversion rates up from where it is right now to like 5 times better. How many would like to have your conversion rates like improve incredibly? So what if you knew that 1 out of every 4 people that you talk to in a one-on-one, 1-hour conversation is going to say yes? And every time they say yes, you make $3,000. So if you could now come up with a marketing system to get 4 qualified people to put themselves on your calendar every day, and your close rate is 1 out of 4 every day, what's happening? You're making at least 1 sale. And every day when you make a sale, how much are you making? $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is that you're selling. Now do that 5 days a week. That's a $25,000 a week. How many of you guys would like to have a $25,000 a week? All you did was sit on the phone and talk to people, or you did a Zoom call, or you met them in the office, or you met them for lunch. Is that hard work?
Yep.
We didn't think that's hard work. We didn't think that's the fastest way to make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So, number 1, become a warrior. Number 2, become incredible at selling so that no matter whatever it is you're selling. Like, I look at you and I say, oh my God, I want to definitely do something with you. But the thing is, sale, yeah, No, I mean, there are certain, look, you know what? One of the things you're going to learn, if you don't already know it, is that we all have a dominant kind of personality type. We can't even know that, right? And there are 4 different types. There's something called the amiable. And the amiable is the free, easygoing, friendly type of, don't make any waves, avoid confrontation at all costs, don't get into any unpleasant type of situations, go along for the ride, just be loyal to whoever's loyal to you, and just a nice, friendly type of person, okay? And all of us, I believe, have a lot of those traits in, but that's their predominant trait. Now, the next person is called the analytic. What's it called?
Analytic.
Yeah, now the analytical is the person who says, oh, I don't believe anything until you prove it to me. I need to see every fact, every figure. I need to know proof beyond comparison. You need to verify every single thing you say to me, and don't rush me. It's going to take me at least 6 months to decide whether or not it's right for me to do. And I don't want any high pressure, so just don't even bother with that. I just need to get, it takes me a while to get all the information, and I need to analyze everything to the 100th degree and figure out, well, if this goes wrong, then this might go wrong, and this might go wrong, and this might go wrong. So I need to analyze everything. Raise your hand if you know those kind of people.
Yeah.
They make great accountants and people like that, analytics, right? Okay. Then come the more what we call the more rather than being out of control, the more in control people. So the expressives, what are they called?
Expressive.
Yeah, the expressives are kind of like they're always, they'd much rather give a fist pump than to give a handshake. They're more outgoing, they're more storytelling, they're more laughing, they're more, when you see them, right? But at the same time, they still have goals, they want things to happen, they're moving forward, they'd rather tell people what to do than be told what to do. You guys understand what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, so those are the expressives, and then there's a very, very small group called the drivers. What are they called?
Drivers.
Driver.
Usually, the top of any successful organization is a driver. Somebody who's almost like fanatical. They are fanatical about their vision, about making it happen, about doing whatever it takes, about sometimes being almost like insensitive because all they're interested in is getting a frickin' job done. Yeah. And they are drivers. They have high goals. They can't stand small talk. They want to get right to the point. They don't want you to be their friend. They just want to buy whatever it is you got if it's worth it to them, right? And a lot of salespeople, the first thing they want to do is become your friend, right? The driver doesn't want to become your friend. I don't have time to become your friend. You got something that might be good for my business. Tell me what you got and let's go, right? So a driver is like, and I'm definitely a driver. I'm definitely a driver. There used to be a time when I was other things, but you know, at 65, I'll tell you guys something. All of us go through different stages in our life. How many would agree? There was a time when there were people much smarter than me, and I was happy to take orders from them and have them explain stuff to me. How many have ever been in that situation? Right? I didn't need to be the guy in charge because there were people a whole lot smarter than me, and I didn't mind them being in charge because I knew I didn't know what they knew. Eventually, after enough years, after enough years of being in business, I began to realize that the people that were telling me what to do didn't know as much as I knew. And at that point, I said, well, I can either take their instructions, or I'd rather, you know, if we do what this person's suggesting we do, it's going to be a disaster. And as I began to see more and more that the people that were telling me what to do didn't know what the hell they were doing, I decided it was time for me to stop being on the receiving end, and I'd rather be the person telling you guys what to do, because I've already been there and done that about the t-shirt. You guys understand? Okay. So I went from being the person that didn't want to be giving the orders to the person that says, I need to give the orders, because if anybody else gives the orders, it's all going to get fucked up. Pardon my language, right? So one of the things that we're going to do next week is, number one, we're going to pick up on this wealth file, but because we hardly even got into it, right? But one of the things is it's really good to understand which one of these four categories you fall into. Because if you fall into one of these categories in particular, you definitely do not want to be an entrepreneur. It's just not in your DNA, unless you understand that if you keep being the person you are, that's not the DNA of a successful entrepreneur. You guys understand what I'm talking about? Right? And I mean, you know, some people, that's just how they naturally are. But you know what? I'm going to tell you guys something, then we're going to wrap it up. How many guys want to make a lot of money? I see show of hands. Thank you. How many want to make it quickly? Okay. So there needs to be a certain time every day, let's say from 8 till 5, when it's business time. What is it? Business time. And you put on your business hat, and you put on your business glasses, and for those hours from 8 till 5, the only thing you're thinking about is what? Business. And getting the result. And getting the result. You're not interested in anything else. Personal matters don't matter. Whatever else is going on in the world doesn't matter. Which team made a trade in sports, it doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters. You are totally laser locked in, focused on getting the result. And if you need to get on somebody's case because you're working with them and they're not pulling their end, you have enough guts to get on their case. Now, if you're an amiable, you know, it's, oh, I'll let this guy ride. And then, you know, 2 weeks go by, 3 weeks go by. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, if you're going to be the boss, and by the way, all of you guys need to be the boss of yourself, you're going to have to make decisions that aren't going to be overly popular with other people. Are you prepared to be that person? To understand that you know, you're not going to be a people pleaser? You can't please all the people all the time if you're going to be the boss. In fact, very often you may piss off a lot of people if you're going to be the boss. If you want to be a level 10 person, you better be prepared to take on level 10 challenges. True or true? True. All kinds of bullshit that the level 2 people don't want to ever have to deal with. True or true? True. That's why they stay at level 2, because they don't want to deal with the challenges level 10 people do. So you need to grow into a level 10 person, so it doesn't matter what the frickin' problem is. You're prepared to deal with it all day long, every day, and especially between 8 and 5, and nothing is going to stop you. You guys understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, very good. Okay, so what we want to do is let's end it with a declaration. And, all right, I know what the declaration is. So I want everybody please stand up. Okay, so we're going to repeat this 3 times, and I'm going to say it first. Okay. I have a millionaire mind. Let me hear it. Again, please. I have a millionaire mind. One more time, twice as loud. I have a millionaire mind. Okay, turn to 5 of your neighbors, give them a high five, say, you have a millionaire mind. You have a millionaire Okay, have a seat. All right, hey guys, let's give it up for Randy. You guys have a millionaire mind. And we thank everybody that tuned in and and watch this, and we wish that you would have been here, because we've got lots of bagels and lox and fruit and yogurt and juice and everything else. Let's give it up for Corey one more time. And I'm going to say goodbye first to all of our friends watching on Facebook. I always end with this one word. That one word is
Namaste.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you. Thank you, Randy.